Hey guys, and today Shorty and I are going to review the game which is between Geelong and Sydney, the preliminary final. And it wasn't really what we went to the game for, mate. It was Sydney getting the job done by 37 points, basically same margin as they did at home, and defeated us basically in the same way as they did at home earlier in the year. But the way the game started, mate, was not great. Well, what I'll do is I'll just chuck it over to you, mate. Because we're both there. You drove there from work and got there with time to spare, so it was good.
Yep, no, I was pumped, mate. Made the trip. Thought I'd watch us play our way into a grand final, but certainly didn't pan out that way. You couldn't have really scripted a worse start from a Cats point of view. I mean, they hit us hard, and we were, deprived of any time with the ball, as well as just sort of really having poor structure. And I think it was more Sydney being good than we were poor. Like, Sydney were outstanding, but part of being a good side is when another good side comes at you with their best footy, you can sort of limit that, absorb it a bit, limit the damage. But it was just a frenetic sort of 21, 22 minutes, and they just destroyed us, and as well as just wasting chances that could have just given you that extra goal or two just to, from a mental point of view, going into quarter time. But that first quarter was unbelievable by Swans, and it's just when you get to that start, you're therefore needing a miracle finish. And while it wasn't impossible, and I would argue we got to points in the game where we actually had some serious hold on the game, and actually, it's always a long shot, but it did look like we had a really good chance to draw it into 4 goals, and we had all that momentum.
Watching this, Joel.
Had turned the tables, and but when you have that poor a start and you leave yourself with so little margin for error, then, as you alluded to there, a Joel Selwood overcooking kick over Tom Hawkins' head, that's all it can be. It really was a massive moment in the game, and it's probably being optimistic to say that we could have come back, but the fact is, the buzz around the ground, it was all going our way. We were really starting to lift. We'd just turned the ball over on the back line in a real wave of numbers, a real team win. Worked it out, broken away to your skipper, and he misses your best forward in the team. And it was deflating. And did they go and kick a goal after that?
They probably did, yeah.
Not far after it. And, for us to be any sort of a chance, something like that, who knows what would have happened. We probably would have still lost, but that's the sort of margin for error you leave yourself after an awful first quarter.
It's arguably 3-goal turnaround. If the Swans don't kick one and we kick one, they miss one, and sort of it goes 2 against them, 1 for us. So.
And I'm sure we'll discuss it as well. But I thought, as bad as the first quarter was, and it's an easy thing to say, they lost in the first quarter, but I actually thought the more damning thing was our inability to convert inside 50s into scores, and more importantly, goals. I guess it's a mixture of a dysfunctional forward line and one that really looked out of shape without Menzel. Just the cohesion between the group. A Motlop and a McCarthy who failed on the big stage, and a Henderson that we said shouldn't have played forward. He did play forward, moved to the back line after half time. Should have watched the podcast. It was never going to work. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but we said it beforehand.
The
reasons he's at Geelong is because he's a failed forward. He's a good defender. And I guess their hands were tied a little bit, and they thought they had to take that risk, but unfortunately Taylor forward and Henderson back worked much better.
Could have done that at the start.
So the numbers were 72 inside 50s, and 8 goals, and the Swans had, I think, 40 inside 50s.
We had 32 more. So
and I think you can also draw a similar line to the Simmons Stadium loss as well. I think they had 43 inside 50s that night and were very efficient.
Really?
And from memory, I think we had maybe 20 more than them that
night. I remember we had 60-something. Something ridiculous.
Yeah, so, it's something we've talked about, that poor choice and execution going inside 50. And we do get in the habit of just blazing away and bombing long. And it
doesn't work well.
Yeah, so very frustrating. But I'll stop hogging the limelight, mate, and give you some airtime here. But it was a frustrating night.
Oh, certainly, mate. As I sort of said in the preview, I didn't expect going into the game expecting to win. Obviously, I tipped Sydney to win, but thought it would be a bit closer. But in the manner it was played and in the manner we were defeated, it was probably embarrassing. probably a good way to describe it. It reminded me of the prelim final 2010. And 7 goals to, I think we kicked 1. And, there's a couple of goals that are very similar. Lee Brown and Isaac Heaney just slammed on the boot.
Yeah.
Buddy Franklin and Ben Johnson, from right on the 50, or basically around the 50-metre mark when he took Ling on. And, some similarities between those two. And they just bought the heat early. And I don't know, Chris Scott in his presser said that, we expected them to play that way. And apparently he was talked to just before the game that he asked, did he have a plan in mind to, stop what happened last time? And he said he did. So good on you there, Scotty. It just would have been nice to at least nullify or limit or halve what they did last time. And this time around, they absolutely dominated us. We could do nothing right. They were doing well on the clearances early, and we lost the clearances by 6 in the end. Pretty tough against a Sydney outfit, which backed very deep in the midfield, which was where it was won and lost. When we had the ball, we didn't use it well. We fumbled a lot. And when we had the ball, we were under immediate pressure. And then if we weren't under immediate pressure, we had referred or perceived pressure. So when we had the pill, so it's very hard to sort of turn it around once that sort of happens. And it's more so what Sydney produced and our inability to actually convert chances when you could probably on top over the last sort of 3 quarters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what it is in modern day footy, isn't it? When you have your team with the momentum, you really want to make it count. And Sydney did.
Yep.
And I think we said halfway through the second or early in the third that this could be one of those days you drive home and you go, poor first quarters really cost us because we had a fair chunk of that last 3 quarters and couldn't make it count.
Definitely. And probably one final thing to mention too, matey, is the players behind Selwood and Dangerfield. Duck said it, we said it in the preview. We know they're going to play well, but it's more so how the other guys show up. And Blitzarves failed, caught holding the ball at least 2 or 3 times at big moments. Deer in a headlight. Mitch Duncan had one good bit of play that I remember from the night where he just took it on the halfback. Guthrie, pretty disappointing as well. Menegola wasn't great either. Yeah, they weren't great. Any thoughts there, mate?
Well, you couldn't ask for 2 better games from Selwood and Dangerfield, really, could you? I mean, they were outstanding, and we knew that they would play very good games. And then you had, as far as disposal counts, 2 guys who may well retire in Bartel and Enright on 26 in 3rd and 4th, and then I think it dropped to 20. It was a slightly lower possession game. I mean, Sydney didn't break the bank as far as numbers either, but if you've only got 4 guys having more than 21 touches, that's pretty concerning. And
True.
It's got to that point where you don't want contributions from that second tier. You want match-winning performances.
Yeah.
Like we saw from Guthrie in that final quarter or late in that Hawthorn game in the qualifying final. They lifted and had a serious impact. So, yeah, it's very disappointing. I thought Scotty, touching on your point before, summed it up pretty well about that start. They adjusted, and probably it was just Sydney were so good. And we probably did just wilt under that pressure. I mean, you can come with all the plans you like and, want to do this and want to stop that, but the fact is they hunted us, doubt creeps in early in the game in a big final. You start to question yourself, and all of a sudden it just all caves in, this enormous pressure, and you're on the back foot, 1 goal, another goal.
Yeah,
it's
just like, wow.
And I guess that's a sign of a truly good side, is to be able to arrest the momentum in a quarter.
Yeah,
which the very best teams do often, and we failed to do that. As good as Sydney were, we were really answerless, weren't we? We had nothing. So disappointing.
Took us a while to get that first one on the board, some time in the second term.
Yeah.
Moving to the votes, matey.
Yeah, sure.
I think we'll see it maybe exactly the same, but give us yours.
Yeah, well, I gave 3 to Selwood. I just thought he was outstanding. He, as we said, he didn't use the ball at his very best, but I thought he just led the way with his contested possession, which he broke a record for. He had a lot of metres gained, which isn't always his go, but
yeah, nice.
I think it was around 700, and tackles, I think he laid 13, so fantastic. And Dangerfield was just just behind. He's not.
Yeah.
It's hard to split him. Also had the 39 and 700 metres gained, which he loves, and he was just fantastic. And then I gave one vote to Bartel. I thought he was fantastic. Without pumping our tyres up too much, we also said pre-game that it was ludicrous, all the talk about him being dropped, and it showed exactly why. I mean, I probably couldn't have thought he'd play as well as he did, but that's exactly why you play a guy like him, because he's capable of doing that on the big stage, and he was great. I think he had 26, kicked a nice goal.
Yeah, beautiful banana.
And especially early, I thought he was one guy that could probably hold his head up early in the piece. So
I like it, mate.
yeah, if it is his last game, then he's gone out with his head held pretty high. Unfortunately, the team and many teammates not so. But how do you see it? Much different, or
You'll take 3 flags, mate.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, exactly the same as you came up with. Yeah, so Selwood 39. Mainly his record got him over the line here, and I thought he just gave it a crack the whole time and used the ball maybe slightly better than Dangerfield, but at times was disappointing with his use. Danger got, I think, basically the same touches. I don't have the stats on the screen right now, but look, he kicked a nice snap around the corner, and he always gives an effort. He always tries his absolute heart out. He wants premiership success more than anyone, so I love the way he goes about it. He's just far and above the best player at the moment.
Yeah,
at least playing. So the one vote to Jimmy Bartel, who had a pretty nice night, and I think he hit the nail on the head early when things weren't going well. He was getting the footy, and he had 14 or something like that, sort of early in the second term, and he was sort of setting the tone and doing his best anyway. So those are the votes, mate. It's how I saw it, and chopping block time. I don't know how deep this will run, mate, but
it warrants another video.
It does warrant another video, which we'll probably chuck in the coming weeks or whatever we'll come up with. But how do you say it to this
we
week?
Probably will. I suppose more of your general list selection and assessment, I suppose. But as far as what came out of this game, very disappointed with Motlop in particular. He's got the ability to be a game breaker and a match winner, and time after time he just fails to step up to the plate and deliver in big games, and he just really kills you. When you look at a guy, I don't look at Josh Cowan and get disappointed if he's not having 30 and breaking the game open. He's a role player, etc.
He tries.
But Motlop has the ability, so you question him and mark him harder, and it's just gotten to the stage where I think he probably will be put to the trade table. I think he's got currency, so he probably should go. As far as other players, it's disappointing with Henderson because he'd probably get questioned about coming back into the team, but it was a no-brainer for him to come back, I think.
Come back, down back.
Yeah, disappointing. He was played out of position.
Didn't give him a good run at it.
That's just the way it goes sometimes, and the coaches thought might have been best. McCarthy was also disappointing,
We like him a lot.
Yeah.
Want to like him.
Again, a guy that can give you 2 or 3, do what Papley does.
Yeah.
Your equivalent, albeit maybe not as much time on the big stage, but still he didn't deliver. And the flow and effect of those two guys, your two sort of small forwards. At times we had a pretty tall forward line. Sort of Hawkins, Henderson, Taylor rolling around, and often Smith or Stanley right there too. And it's no surprise that Sydney scored a lot of their goals in that from the counter-attack and only needed 40 inside 50s to win, because when you got the likes of Motlop and McCarthy having stinkers, it allows guys like Jones and Laidler and Rampy and Smith even at times to have the confidence that their man is not having their greatest night and probably not going to hurt you. It gives them confidence to peel off, intercept, and run away and create 4-on-2s and 3-on-1s and things like that on perhaps their more dangerous players. So
outnumbered us all night.
Yeah, but there are a lot of guys who weren't great, which is probably why we could perhaps leave it to a full dedicated video to more a list sort of assessment. But I've only named a couple, and I'm sure you've got a few names in mind as well, as you touched on those second tier sort of players who didn't stand up at all. It was disappointing, and some of our more experienced players were at best. We've touched on Enright and Bartel, and Lonergan was very good as well.
Yeah, kept Buddy the 2.
Yeah. So what do you think, mate? Do you have anything else to add? There were a lot of guys out there who were pretty poor. So it's hard to just, you could name a lot of names, but they were two guys I felt came to the game with the potential to change the outcome and failed miserably.
Yeah, maybe Reece Stanley comes to mind.
Yeah.
He's bought from St Kilda because they thought he was basically an athlete, not really a footy player. I think he kicked one in the end, but just over the last few weeks, and even I'm not chopping Zach Smith, but I feel like since the first part of the year, there's been no presence. I mean, remember at the start of the year when he was contested possessions, getting the ball out of the ruck, follow-up tackles, maybe taking a few marks, kicking a couple of goals, and I don't see any of that, and I don't even know if he knows where he's tapping to at half the time. Hear it at the game with you guys a little bit as well. And, I'm sort of hitting the ruckman here at the moment, but
as a combination, the hit-outs might say otherwise, but I felt they were beaten. They around the ground and impact compared to expectation, they were disappointing.
Yeah, and I guess out of the second tier, I was probably most disappointed with Blitzarves. I mean, he probably is trying his heart out, but just the lack of awareness he has at times can be really concerning. And again, we're talking about athletes here, and another big guy I'm chopping here. So, yeah, just, deer in a headlight 2 or 3 times where he's got ping holding the ball, just no awareness to just know when to kick it long or know when to make decision X, Y, or Z. So
it's funny because when he burst on the scene, awareness was something that was a real skill of his and unexpected from a guy without a footy background.
Absolutely.
It disappeared.
Yeah, definitely. Duncan was disappointing, Guthrie was disappointing, and it's pretty hard to say many guys won their position, and that's why we got the result we got.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot more guys having poor nights than they would really expect. So
definitely.
Not good.
Well, moving on to next year.
No next week now.
No next week, unfortunately. We don't get to, have some champagne at the grand final. not that we drink that, but unfortunately we don't get to go to the big dance. Would have been nice to maybe get another sneaky granny, mate, and win another flag and just accept mediocrity for the next 20, 30 years. I want a flag, mate. I mean, one more would be great, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'd love 10 more. 10 more? No, of course. I think whenever you're in a position to win a premiership, you always want to make that chance count. And I think we worked ourselves into that position. The cards fell our way a little bit. Adelaide lost that last round, allowed us to get a top 2.
Yeah.
Smith slides one wide, went into a prelim with a week off. You can't write a better script to advance to a prelim grand final and give yourself a crack. And whenever you get to those positions, unless, if you don't come away with a cup, you're pretty disappointed.
Yep. But I'll take that on board for sure. No, it's the way it goes, but we'll look our wounds and and see how we go next year. We'll have a bit of a video about list management and let the Cats know what they need to do in the coming future. And I don't know if there's anything else that comes to mind, but if we think of anything else and need to address anything else, we will.
Boys at the office want another goal kicking video.
The goal kicking video. Yeah. We had a nice game today,
mate. High demand. Yeah. Pulled up pretty sore.
Few snags, friends. I think we kicked nearly 20 between us.
Pumps our tyres right up, but I'm not going to shy away from that. It was impressive. Dangerfield-Selwood combo.
Good stuff, mate. That's what we're here for.
Ending the year with some real lack of modesty. I like it.
Yeah, well, at least we stand up. That's the main thing. Thanks for watching, guys, and we've been back for this episode, and Shorty's been lucky enough to have a Sunday off, so yeah, I guess our grand final tip will be up next, and don't forget to check that out and check out others as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe. That'd be fantastic. That'd be great. Thanks for hanging around. We'll catch you guys next time.